I decided to use the Save the Rennets website to evaluate. At first glance, when I go to the home page, I'm assuming that a rennet is a small rodent, hamster type animal based on these pictures. As I read down a little bit, that's exactly what it tells me that it is. And it also tells me that it's used in the process of making cheese. If I go on over to the About Cheese page, it gives me a little more information about how they're used in making cheese and that I can use vegetarian cheese. At this point, I am questioning the validity of this information based on my past experience that I've never even heard of this and heard of these animals. As I go on over, it's also telling me that rennets are these small burrowing rodents, which are similar to hamsters and mice, and everything looks very believable. As I skip on over, I can read how to save these. I can write to my MP, which would be, I assume that it would be similar to our representatives and congressmen. And as I go down here and I go to this website, and it directs me to another website that ends with the extension of UK, I assume that that is a valid website because it has that extension. As I go back here, and I read this information, I also read here where I can click here and add my name to a petition. I'm still questioning the validity of this information, just simply because I've never heard of it and it just sounds a little far-fetched. I'm going to go over to where I can buy a rennet, and as I read in here, the information gets less and less believable, and I get down here to where it says I can also buy a penguin. So I'm truly questioning the validity of this information. At this point, I'm going to go over and look at the ABCs according to Beth Phillips, and as I have already looked at the content, the C, I am questioning the information itself. I'm going to look at the author and editor of this information. That can usually be found here at About Us. And as I read this, the first statement that they make right here says that they've just made most of this up. Rennet is added to cheese, but it is in fact the stomach of a slaughtered newly born cow. So a rennet is not a small animal. That's very deceptive. And after reading this, it looks like that Mark, Jamie, and Mike are just against drinking milk due to how it's made, then they are saving these little animals, which aren't even the rennets at all. This is not exactly how I expected this website to turn out, so I was surprised by the information. In reflecting back on this activity, I wondered how my students would react to a website that looked real. The information looked real. It looked like a rennet was a small hamster-like animal. So I actually gave this website to a couple of small groups of my students, and most of the groups believed the information. They actually stood up in front of the class and gave short oral presentations about the information and how these animals were used in the making of cheese. That was very disturbing to me. My students are in high school and they did not even question at all this information. So it just makes me more determined to incorporate these 21st century skills into my everyday curriculum. I teach mainly career tech classes, and I'm trying to prepare them for the real world, what to expect. And after doing this little exercise, and after the students actually not even questioning it at all, just made me realize more that I need to incorporate these skills into their everyday lessons. I will do this more often with my students. I will have them fill out complete website evaluations with any project that they're doing to make sure that they are looking at all these things.